1843, a pivotal year in the annals of history, nestled between the enchanting romance of the Victorian era and the throes of the Industrial Revolution. A time when the boundaries of human knowledge were being pushed, and the world stood on the precipice of a technological revolution that would forever alter the course of humanity. It is in this rich tapestry of history that our story unfolds, a tale shrouded in mystery and intrigue for centuries, one that speaks to the very heart of concealed science and suppressed inventions. Meet Ada Lovelace, a name you might not be familiar with, but one that will forever be etched in the annals of computing history. Born Augusta Ada Byron, the only legitimate child of the infamous Romantic poet Lord George Gordon Byron, Ada's life was marked by an unusual blend of artistic flair and mathematical prowess, a potent cocktail of creativity and logic that would ultimately fuel her groundbreaking work in the field of computer science. In 1843, Ada Lovelace published what is widely regarded as the world's first computer program, a remarkable feat considering that Charles Babbage's proposed mechanical general-purpose computer, the analytical engine, was still just a concept at the time. Yet it was Ada who recognized the potential of this revolutionary invention and took the bold step of writing a program for it, a program that would have been capable of computing Bernoulli numbers had Babbage's machine ever been built. But why is it that Ada Lovelace's pioneering work has remained hidden from public view for so long? Why is it that her name does not resound with the same reverberation as other titans of science and technology, such as Alan Turing or Grace Hopper? The answers to these questions are as elusive as they are intriguing. One possible explanation lies in the fact that Ada Lovelace was a woman operating in a predominantly male-dominated field. In an era when women were rarely afforded the same opportunities and recognition as their male counterparts, it is perhaps unsurprising that Ada's groundbreaking work was consigned to the shadows of history. However, there are also more complex and conspiratorial theories at play. Some argue that Ada Lovelace's work was deliberately suppressed by powerful forces seeking to control the trajectory of technological development. Indeed, it is worth noting that Babbage's analytical engine remained unbuilt throughout his lifetime, a fact that has led some to speculate as to whether there were darker forces at work, intent on stifling the potential of this groundbreaking invention. Regardless of the reasons behind Ada Lovelace's obscurity, her contributions to the field of computer science are undeniable and have only grown in stature in recent years. In 2018, she was commemorated with a Google Doodle on what would have been her 27th birthday, a testament to her enduring legacy and influence in the world of computing. But as we delve deeper into the enigma surrounding Ada Lovelace's life and work, it becomes increasingly apparent that there are still many unanswered questions, secrets long concealed within the annals of history, waiting to be uncovered. And so, our journey begins in earnest, a quest to unearth the truth about Ada Lovelace, the world's first computer programmer, and the mysterious forces that conspired to keep her work hidden from public view for centuries. As we venture further down this rabbit hole of suppressed inventions and classified experiments, one thing becomes abundantly clear. The story of Ada Lovelace is not just a tale of individual genius and perseverance. It is also a testament to the power of human curiosity, the relentless pursuit of knowledge, and the indomitable spirit that drives us to explore the unknown. And it is in this spirit that we continue our investigation, seeking to shed light on the hidden corners of history and unravel the mysteries that have eluded us for so long. In our next segment, we will delve deeper into Ada Lovelace's life and work, exploring her unique background, her collaborations with Charles Babbage, and the groundbreaking program she wrote for the analytical engine, a program that would forever change the course of human history. So join us as we continue our journey into The Lost Lab, where science, history, and mystery converge in an intriguing dance of shadows and light. Delving further into our exploration of The Lost Lab, we find ourselves at the intersection of science, history, and a veiled mystery that is as captivating as it is perplexing. The year was 1843 when Ada Lovelace, an extraordinary mathematician, penned what is now regarded as the world's first computer program, a feat that would indelibly change the trajectory of human history. To fully appreciate the magnitude of her accomplishment, one must first understand the backstory and the cast of characters involved in this intellectual drama. Ada Lovelace, born Augusta Ada Byron, yes, the only legitimate child of Lord Byron, the famous Romantic poet, was a brilliant mathematician in her own right. Her mother, Annabella Milbanke, encouraged Ada's interest in logic and mathematics as a means to steer her away from her father's artistic and passionate temperament. This calculated upbringing would ultimately prove instrumental in shaping Ada Lovelace's unique worldview and subsequent contributions to science. Now let us turn our attention to Charles Babbage, a polymath and inventor who conceived of the first automatic computing engines. In 1834, he proposed the design for his difference engine, a mechanical calculator meant to automate the production of mathematical tables. While this invention was never fully realized during Babbage's lifetime, it laid the groundwork for an even more ambitious project, the analytical engine. The collaboration between Lovelace and Babbage began when Ada attended one of Babbage's lectures in 1833. Their intellectual camaraderie would span over a decade, culminating in Lovelace's legendary translation and annotation of Luigi Menabrea's memoir on the analytical engine. Within her notes, she detailed a method for calculating Bernoulli numbers, effectively writing the first computer program. However, what makes Ada Lovelace's work so groundbreaking? To answer this question, one must examine her visionary ideas about the potential applications of the analytical engine. In her notes, she mused on the possibility of the machine composing music, creating artistic designs, and even manipulating symbols, not just numbers. She saw beyond its mathematical capabilities and envisioned a future where machines could augment human intellect and creativity, an astonishingly prescient concept that continues to unfold before our eyes today. The story of Ada Lovelace and Charles Babbage is rife with unanswered questions and tantalizing mysteries. For instance, why did the British government decline to fund Babbage's analytical engine despite its potential? And what other scientific breakthroughs might have been possible had Ada Lovelace lived beyond her tragically short life of 36 years? As we continue our journey through The Lost Lab, these questions serve as signposts, guiding us further down the rabbit hole in search of answers. It is here, within this enigmatic realm where science and history intertwine, that we are reminded of the power of curiosity, collaboration, and the indomitable human spirit. Ada Lovelace, a Victorian woman of uncommon intellect and foresight, had drafted what is widely regarded as the world's first machine algorithm, a program for Charles Babbage's visionary analytical engine. This mechanical behemoth, designed to automate sequences of calculations, was far ahead of its time, yet it would take almost a century before such ideas became reality with the advent of modern computers. But why is it that Ada Lovelace's remarkable achievement remained largely unrecognized for so long? To understand this mystery, we must delve into the societal norms and political climate of Victorian England. In the mid-19th century, women were generally excluded from scientific circles. Despite her brilliance, Lovelace was a rarity, a woman who not only engaged with but significantly contributed to the field of science. Her gender alone may have played a role in the lack of recognition for her work. Moreover, Charles Babbage, the man behind the analytical engine, failed to secure funding for its construction, leading to its abandonment. This failure might have overshadowed Lovelace's accomplishments, which were intrinsically linked to Babbage's invention. Another possible reason lies in the complex nature of Lovelace's notes. They were filled with mathematical concepts that were not only ahead of their time, but also difficult for many to comprehend. This complexity could have contributed to the misunderstanding and subsequent dismissal of her work. Political machinations at the time may have also played a part in burying Lovelace's achievements. The British Association for the Advancement of Science, established in 1831, initially excluded women from membership. This exclusion further limited the avenues through which Lovelace could share her work. Interestingly, when Hermann Hollerith invented the punch card system in the late 19th century, marking a significant step towards modern computing, Lovelace's contributions were nowhere mentioned. Hollerith's invention, used extensively for data processing during the 1890 US Census, was a commercial success, an area where Babbage's engines fell short. It wasn't until the mid-20th century that Lovelace's work began to receive due recognition. In 1953, over a century after she wrote her notes, mathematician and computer scientist Alan Turing acknowledged Lovelace's foresight in his influential paper Intelligent Machinery. He praised her understanding of the potential for machines to go beyond mere calculation, highlighting her vision of computers as creative tools capable of executing complex processes. Yet, even with Turing's validation, Lovelace's rightful place in computing history remained elusive. It wasn't until the 1980s that her contributions started gaining wider acceptance, thanks largely to the efforts of computer scientist Durand Swade and his team at the Science Museum in London. Swade's reconstruction of Babbage's analytical engine brought renewed attention to Lovelace's work. In 1982, he organized a symposium on Lovelace's notes, helping establish her as the world's first computer programmer. Despite these late recognitions, many questions remain unanswered. Why did it take so long for Ada Lovelace's groundbreaking work to be acknowledged? Was it mere oversight, or a result of deep-seated gender bias and political maneuvering? As we continue to explore these questions, one thing remains clear. Ada Lovelace's place in the history of computing is seminal, influential, and undeniably worthy of celebration. The story of Ada Lovelace and her rightful place in the annals of computer science is a tangled web of omissions, oversights, and what some might even call a conspiracy of silence. It's a tale that asks difficult questions about the role of powerful institutions, gender bias, and the motivations behind suppressing her story for so long. Let's begin by examining the timeline of events surrounding Lovelace's work. In 1843, she published her groundbreaking paper, Sketch of the Analytical Engine, with notes from the translator, which contained what many considered to be the first algorithm ever intended for processing by a machine, essentially the world's first computer program. Yet, it wasn't until 1953, a full century later, that her notes were republished in an academic context thanks to the efforts of B.V. Bowden and his book Faster Than Thought, a symposium on digital computing machines. So why did it take so long for Lovelace's work to be recognized? One possible explanation lies in the fact that her mentor, Charles Babbage, never managed to build a functioning version of his analytical engine, leaving many to question its practicality and Lovelace's work along with it. However, this doesn't fully explain why Lovelace's contributions were largely overlooked while Babbage's ideas gained traction in the early days of computing. Another piece of the puzzle may involve the role of influential institutions during that time. For example, the British Association for the Advancement of Science, which was responsible for publishing many scientific papers during the 19th century, failed to acknowledge Lovelace's work in their publications. It wasn't until much later, in 2008, that the BAAS issued an official apology for their failure to recognize her achievements. But perhaps the most intriguing aspect of this mystery is the question of gender bias. Throughout history, women have often been overlooked or marginalized in scientific fields, and Lovelace's story is no exception. Despite her brilliant mind and seminal contributions to computer science, she was frequently overshadowed by her male contemporaries, a pattern that continued well into the 20th century. Could it be that these various factors conspired to keep Ada Lovelace's name out of computer science textbooks for so long? While we may never know the full truth, one thing remains clear: Ada Lovelace's place in the history of computing is both significant and undeniable. Her pioneering work laid the groundwork for modern computer programming, and her story serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of recognizing and celebrating the contributions of all scientists, regardless of gender or circumstance. In this quest to uncover the truth about Ada Lovelace's legacy, we are left with more questions than answers. But by examining the facts and piecing together this fascinating puzzle, we can begin to understand the complex web of forces that shaped the narrative around her work, and ensure that her rightful place in history is finally acknowledged and appreciated for generations to come. In the vast landscape of computing history, Ada Lovelace's accomplishments have often been overshadowed by her male contemporaries. But as we delve deeper into this enigma, it becomes evident that her influence is far from forgotten. In fact, institutions and conferences worldwide now honor her contributions to computer science and mathematics. In 1980, the Department of Defense recognized Lovelace's pioneering role by naming a new high-level programming language, Ada, in her honor. This language, still used today, is especially suited for safety-critical systems like air traffic control or banking applications, a testament to Lovelace's foresight in envisioning the potential of error-free and unbounded calculations. Furthermore, in 2009, the British Computer Society established the Lovelace Medal, awarded annually for outstanding achievements in computing. The existence of these accolades underscores the growing appreciation for Ada Lovelace's groundbreaking work. Yet, despite these strides, one can't help but wonder how different history might have been if Lovelace had received her due credit during her lifetime. Would she have inspired more women to pursue careers in STEM fields? Might her collaboration with Charles Babbage have led to even greater discoveries? These questions haunt us, serving as a reminder of the lost potential and unrealized opportunities that stem from underrepresentation and overlooked achievements. As we grapple with these unanswered questions, let us consider the implications for today's world. Despite progress in gender equality, women remain underrepresented in many STEM fields. Could it be that Ada Lovelace's story is still being replicated in modern times? Are there visionaries among us whose ideas go unheard, whose contributions are diminished or forgotten due to systemic biases and societal expectations? Pause for a moment and reflect on this unsettling possibility. As we continue to celebrate Ada Lovelace's remarkable accomplishments, let us also commit ourselves to recognizing and amplifying the voices of those who may be overlooked in our own time. By doing so, we ensure that history does not repeat itself, and that future generations can benefit from the collective wisdom of all pioneers, regardless of gender, race, or creed. The tale of Ada Lovelace serves as both an inspiration and a cautionary reminder. It challenges us to re-examine our past and scrutinize our present, pushing us ever closer to a future where every voice is heard and every contribution is valued. And so, dear viewer, we leave you with this thought-provoking question: who will be the unsung heroes of tomorrow's technological revolutions? 1. Ada Lovelace and the Creation of the First Computer Program by Christopher Dudley. 2. Recognizing Ada Lovelace, the First Computer Programmer by John McCormick. 3. A Brief History of the Ada Programming Language by Richard Reheal. 4. The Lovelace Medal, honoring outstanding ICT professionals. 5. Why Aren't There More Women in Tech by Claire Kane Miller.